Morning. It's true, stories never end. After the last word of a sentence, the imagination takes over. Fever brings back memories. Echoes of the past bounce off the walls until they rest in a peaceful state, ready for a new stir, a spark to ignite the next chapter. Fireworks illuminate the sky, a brief moment of excitation, electrified. That's the beauty of life. Poetic visions. A glimpse into a moment in time. The artwork is finished, but the paint is still wet. The words flow down the valley to the ocean and rain down on our heads. Syllables drift through the cracks in the ceiling to form a chaotic mess. Birds chatter on cables on rooftops. Books pile up next to the bed. Ulysses, the complete works of Picasso, Naked Lunch. Rays of light peek between the curtains and lighten the room. It's morning. It's a beautiful morning. You don't feel sick. Maybe you don't even feel like getting up. But there's no need for alarm clocks, coffee, or anything else. You're awake. You're still in your pajamas as you sit on the edge of the bed. The curtains are pushed to the side, exposing a panoramic view of the city. You can see the morning traffic through the window. The city is beautiful. The buildings are gray, old and tall, like an army of giant ghosts. But there's beauty in their shadows too. You can see the trees along the lake, the flowers on the walkways, the green grass covering the park. You think of yesterday. You remember half of it, the best parts, the best bits, the sweetest delights. The director's cut, projecting the past through a lens made of diamond, half truth, half fiction, for you. The constellation of Scorpio. Scorpios are fiercely loyal to their families and friends. And when they do become involved with someone romantically, they're usually loyal, devoted, and generous. They have a strong desire to live out their fantasies in the most creative and erotic ways. Scorpios, despite their love of life, are most interested in death and dying. The energy of the scorpion focuses on the lower chakras. Scorpios like to live in the moment. This constant pursuit of pleasure keeps them on their toes, like a dancer ready to take on the world. Scorpios are lovers of the new and the fresh, and they use any new experience as a springboard to further experience, as they search for ways to satisfy their desires and fantasies. Scorpios love to be in the center of attention, and enjoy being the focus of attention. Scorpios have the ability to attract and seduce in a very seductive manner. They can capture attention and hold attention, drawing you closer and attracting you like a magnet. They can be very persuasive, but in a good way, and will play to your fears, and then use that fear against you in order to have their way. Scorpios live to be involved in the fantasy life, and this can lead to a very dangerous and unpredictable way of life. Let it be. Obedient to the call, some rare impulse of the heart, he moves through space and time, strikes athwart the thread of an invisible destiny, as a flaming arrow sped by the wand of a magician. Magic. Does it exist? Yes, it does in this parallel universe. The possibilities are endless. We shift through dimensions, we become masters of our domain. We travel through the cosmic maze. We have no boundaries, no rules. There are no limits to what we can create. There are no limits to what we can accomplish. This life is a movie, an old one. A movie of our own making. If we change the script, the scenery, or the players, it doesn't matter. The story says the same. It's the story of chemistry, attraction, some call love. The park. A girl and a boy walk through the park in the dark, while a full moon shines through silver clouds. The large trees cast white shadows on the road before them. The moon is the only light they have. The park they are in is quite old. There's no people to be seen, and there's no sound other than the rush of wind in the trees and their own footsteps. They are fearless, looking for danger. She's wearing a blue dress, and he's wearing a black suit. "Look out for that cockroach," the boy shouts. A giant cockroach comes crawling out of the bushes. "Geez, I didn't know cockroaches could get this big." The monster cockroach is moving fast. "There's no point in running off, because the cockroach will get you if he wants to," she says softly. The cockroach twists his tongue. It's moving in and out of his mouth, his eyes twitching in the dark, looking for prey. The girl giggles and sips the drink she brought along for the walk. The girl kneels down and holds the cockroach's face in her hands. The monster is looking straight into her eyes. "I understand this cockroach," she says. "He's so innocent and trusting. He knows only love." "We should head back to the party," the boy whispered. "We might miss the performance. Apparently the trumpet player is pretty good." "I know he is. I saw his face in the papers. There were some good reviews." The girl giggles, and her lips touch with his. Their lips touch softly. They kiss for a few seconds. "You're sweet." The cockroach walks up to the girl's leg. The girl is startled and pulls back. She giggles nervously. "What's wrong?" the cockroach says. The girl shakes the bug of her leg. "I don't know why, but I always get frightened when cockroaches start up a conversation." "But I'm just normal, like this boy over here," the cockroach responds. "So why don't you get upset when I talk to you?" the boy asks to the girl. "Because it's you. You're not a bug. You're not a monster." The girl looks over her shoulders and sees that the cockroach has stolen her drink. "I know this cockroach is innocent and all, but get that cockroach away from my drinks. It's not hygienic, and you know it." "Okay, I'll get rid of it." Splash! The party. Meanwhile, at the party, coffee is being served. Art students pack the hallways. Violins and trumpets melt together, a hot dripping mess. A pretty young lady with orange hair and a turtleneck sweater is on a tall chair holding a microphone in her hand. The microphone has no wires. It's just a tiny metal box with an electric eye at the tip. There's a beam of light piercing out of the eye, and people are trying to listen to the hum it makes as it sweeps across the room. Heads nod, some heads shake. The beam gets brighter and louder. I cannot make out what she's saying, 'cause there's a roar from the crowd, a rumble of stomachs, and I start to feel dizzy, and I see a boy with blonde hair smiling at me. His eyes are blue like the summer sky, a blue not unlike the Mediterranean Sea. The red beam moves across the crowd and stops on a red velvet curtain. Two girls open the curtain, and a blonde woman gets on stage. And then a blonde boy with long hair enters from the crowd. They dance. They do not sing. No music. The young man takes the woman in his arms, and the crowd applauds. They walk across the stage and disappear behind the curtain. Again, the red beam sweeps across the room, and a new couple appears. A man with a dark complexion, a black suit and a white shirt underneath. A woman with a long black gown and a pale face. I try to follow the red light, but it's impossible to make out the scene any longer. People are calling out from the crowd, and I'm in a forest of blue and black hair. I'm struggling to see the light, but it disappears, and I cannot find it again. The red beam strikes between my eyes. Zoom, zap. The English Garden. I'm transported to a small square in front of a white house, with a blue roof, and the sun is shining. I estimate that I must be in England, judging by the garden adjacent to the house. I turn my head and I see a child there. A girl, small, perhaps 7 years old. Her hair brown, her lips very pink. And she's very still, and it's quiet now, except for the sound of flowing water of a nearby river. She removes the hair covering her face, so I can see her face more clearly. It's the girl from the park. However, this must be in another lifetime, another dimension. Even though it's daytime, I can see a star-filled sky above me. But somehow, it all makes sense. The girl points to a man who's sitting on a chair reading a magazine, and to another man, older, taller, in a khaki uniform, standing beside her. Without them, I wouldn't be here. Even you wouldn't be here, she says, her eyes evading mine. Come, I want to show you something. The girl holds my hand and directs me to an open field. Do you see those stars? It's the constellation of Scorpio. That's where you come from. Where do you come from, I ask. I live beyond space and time. I brought you to this place. One day you will understand, she says in a low, sweet voice. She takes me to her family house, which is filled with her paintings. When I see one particular painting, it almost looks like it is looking at me, and when I'm closer to it, it seems to come alive. She must be an artist. She leads me to a dark, small room next to the kitchen. I feel something pushing inside of me, a dull ache to the left of my collarbone, as the room starts to spin around me. I can hear her laughing, and I can hear the sound of my heart beating. She asked me to close my eyes, and when I open them, I see the most beautiful drawing I have ever seen. The girl sits in front of me, her right hand on her chest, and her left hand pointing to the sky. My heart pounds, and I feel as though I can breathe. I'm a Scorpio too, the girl says. I hear trumpets from afar, and suddenly it all becomes blurry. I can't see the girl anymore. I feel as though I'm slowly disappearing. The garden retreats into a thick grey mist. The sky cracks like a broken eggshell. I fall downwards, forever and ever. Everything goes black around me, devoured by the void. Silence. Room 205. I wake up in the living room, and I see her there, much older now. She looks as though she has just woken up, and now she's looking at me. She asks if I'm okay, and then she holds my hand and tells me about the night before. She tells me that she had seen me die at the party. You were gone. We all thought you were gone. And then all of a sudden you came back to life when I touched you. It was really weird. Her face radiates as she speaks. Her eyes are very bright, and she looks calm and beautiful. Here, take this medicine. It will make you feel better. What is it, I ask? Venus dust with moon pearls. I made it myself. I smear some of the powder on my lips. It tastes like garlic. It tastes like garlic! Yes, I put some garlic in it, as well for the taste. I hope you don't mind. Well, I'm allergic. I don't feel too well. Oh, I didn't know. I'm so sorry, she says. Oh, excuse me, where's your toilet? She points me towards the other side of the room. I walk through the dim-lit room and flip the light switch on. The walls of the toilet are decorated with David Bowie and Beatles posters. I feel right at home. A noise. I turn my head towards the mirror. A blond guy with greenish blue eyes appears on the other side of the mirror. He points to the tiled floor. Next to him, a typewriter. It starts to shake. What once seemed a typewriter metamorphs into a cockroach, a green cockroach. I'm looking at it with a puzzled expression. I feel strange, and I can't understand why I'm seeing this. The young man turns to look at me, and I see that he is me. He puts his hand on my cheek, touches me lightly, and then vanishes. The woman opens the door. "Oh, my lord, you're a mess. Follow me." She takes me to another room down the hallway. On a table in the room lies a glass of water. There's also an electric razor. She takes the blade and shaving cream from the table and begins to shave my face. "The only cure for lunacy is a good shave," she says. I feel the heat of her hands on my skin and start to tremble. I try to concentrate and to think about everything that has happened to me. I think about the stars, the mirror, the weird dream I had on the dance floor, and also about my death and the woman who resuscitated me, who is now shaving my untrimmed beard. It all seems to become confusing and even frightening. My skin begins to itch. I start to shake uncontrollably. The young woman puts the razor down and takes me into her arms. She soothes me and caresses me. "Don't worry, honey. It's only a panic attack. You'll be fine." My stomach rumbles loudly. "Is there some baklava left?" I ask, faintly remembering I bought some. "I think you ate it all, my dear. We should get out of here. I'll put you to bed, and then we'll think about something else. What do you want? Some chocolate?" "Yes, you can have some chocolate. It's here somewhere. Here, chocolate, my dear." "What do you want now? Some tea? Here you are." She hands me the mug of tea. She sits beside me. "My name is Young." She kisses me on the lips, her soft, warm lips. I want her lips. My tongue wants to lick her lips, and my hand wants to get into her skirt and feel her warm softness. I'm becoming aroused. Her scent is in my nostrils. Her breath is in my lungs. What should we do now? Let's get into bed. She helps me to stand and leads me into her bedroom. She undresses and she lies down in her bed. I join her, straddling her, my sex rubbing against her groin. "Your first time," she whispers in my ear. "I'm so happy to be with you. I'm in heaven," I moan. She runs her fingers through my hair. She kisses me. I move up and down on her body, my head thrown back, my eyes closed, lost in sensation. "Shall we lie down?" "Yes." We lay down, my skin pressed against hers. She lays her head on my chest. I feel whole and happy. She holds me tight. I feel her breast against my skin. The diamond. The clock is ticking. My mind wanders off. I float above the ocean. Making love is like chemistry, where two bodies form an ionic bond with one another. They make sparks, they make energy, and when they break, they leave some kind of imprint in your mind. You know that spark of energy that connects you to someone. And when you think back to it, you long for it. I hope you're thinking about me now. That's what this chemistry is all about. A boy and a girl walking in the park underneath the moonlight, the clouds slowly floating by and covering the sky in a soft mist. The two share some of the sky, some of the stars. Their eyes meet and their hearts take notice. But what they share is not what most people get to experience. The two find themselves looking into the eye of the storm. They gaze deep into each other's soul. And they don't know which way to turn, carefully not to break the bond. It's a struggle, a battle, a war, but the two share a spark that makes them one. Unbreakable like a diamond. Diamond, as elegant as eternal, reflecting rainbow-colored light beams across the room. Room number 205. You shine your photons towards the ceiling, and you scatter them through me. The light of your mind illuminates the darkness of your room. The dark, empty room number 205. You are here to illuminate it, but all good things come to an end. Your light succumbs to the steady march of time. The beat of the drums fade away. Our eyes become heavy. Morning will be soon. It's calling. The fish in the aquarium have gone to sleep. It's 5 a.m. The electric guitar, tuned to 432 Hz, lies silent on the couch. The movie we were watching has derailed into a paranoid schizoid mess, a kind of existential version of a nightmare. But all this is fine. It's all perfectly normal. We just happen to be here, living, existing, and listening to the sound of our breath and the sound of our bodies. Close the laptop, toss it aside. No more words. Just the rustling of the wind in the trees. The end.